I'm pleased to welcome you today to this information session dedicated to the Frontiers Planet Prize next edition. So we're going to share new details with you about the mechanism of the prize and the criteria. And we are very pleased to be joined today by Salvatore Rico, the IAC CEO, who will speak about the partnership we have with the Frontiers Planet Prize, Jean-Claude Bergelman, the Frontiers Planet Prize Director, Gilbert de Gregorio, the Frontiers Planet Prize Associate Director, and quite a surprise, the international champion for Sweden, Professor Zahra Kalantari, who will share with us about her research and very nice details about the ceremony which happened last week in Villars. So welcome everyone. Without further ado, I hand it over to Salvatore for his opening remarks before we have some presentations. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Gabriela. And indeed, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all attendees. I'd like to recognize a number of members to the International Science Council and also nominating agencies, national nominating agencies. I'd like to once again welcome you all to this session and share with you a little bit why the International Science Council has decided to partner with the Frontiers Foundation in this rather courageous and yet very timely and needed effort around the Frontiers called the Frontiers Planet Prize. So I think we can perhaps simplify the reasons why we decided to enter into this partnership in the following way. The first is probably that there is a need to capture scientific production in general, the best possible scientific production according to the standards of science, but also within that general need, there is a need to capture scientific production in the global south. There is now a need to capture scientific production across disciplines. And there is a need to capture, an increasing need to capture production of knowledge which is actionable. And the reason why this particular initiative is that faced with the current challenges related to sustainability, related to inequality, there is a real science be mobilized and be part of solutions, the efforts related to leading to solutions. And the second reason is that not only are the intentions of the prize noble, timely, relevant, but the prize is also underpinned by solid scientific thinking and also demonstrated findings related to the fact that we can no longer afford playing with crucial, critical life-supporting boundaries the way we have done so far. So, so it's a choice by the International Science Council to partner with the Frontiers Foundation on this specific endeavor. In the past couple of years, since the beginning of the partnership, which coincides, in fact, with the inception of the prize, we've seen, at least from the IAC angle, a growing interest by our members, including the possibility for them to act as nominating agencies. And the planet is growing, the interest, the prize, the interest around the prize, the endeavor is growing, because I think it's not just the prize, no matter how appealing it is, it's really the cause that the prize is defending. So against that frame context, I wanted to once again, welcome you all. Welcome in particular, if I may, Professor Zahara Kalantari, who is one of the winners of this year's international winners of this year's prize. And with that, I'd like to also introduce Professor Jean-Claude Bergelmann, who is the director of the Frontiers Planet Prize and also editor-in-chief of Policy Labs, which is a very, very interesting publication that I encourage we all to look into, to see how the discussion, the debate around the planetary boundaries, the global commons, and the increasing role of science diplomacy, if I may so, is unfolding. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Salvatore. I think, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're very pleased to have Professor Kalantari here today. And I know, Zahar, you prepared a presentation for us. So thank you very much for contributing to the session. And the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm just trying to share my slides. So continue to share. I hope you see my screen now. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Gabriella. Thanks a lot, Salvador, and thanks a lot to Frontier Planet Prize for inviting me to be here. My name is Zahra Kalantari, and I am professor in environmental engineering and science at KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden, Stockholm. Now, I am also director of the Water Center in Sweden. So, yeah, I just wanted to give you actually show why we won this prize, because it was based on a paper that we published in Nature, and also it's about nature-based solution for carbon neutral cities. So just give you some information about the project, the ideas that we have it, and how we want actually to use this prestigious Frontier Planet Prize for evolving, for further improving, and also for developing our approach for doing even better in future. So we know that actually, yeah, we are facing climate change. We are contributing, unfortunately, with emitting greenhouse gas emissions, and our cities actually stands for 70% of the greenhouse gas emissions. So by doing this project, this paper and study research, so we started to look at how we can actually use nature-based solutions. And what are nature-based solutions? There are the solutions that are inspired by nature to protect us, to be able to restore, and also to support both human and nature at the same time. So we want to help the cities to be able to unlock the full potential of these solutions, not only just to make it much livable, healthier, and greener for us, and also to be able to contribute and achieving carbon neutrality in our cities and staying within the planetary boundaries, because we know that actually we have unfortunately gone beyond the threshold that we have it in different boundaries. For example, in this case, we want to contribute with the climate change, we also land system change and biochemical flows as well. So, and that was the main question that we had it in mind when we started this research. Actually, it's a very big research. It has taken a few years to be able to do it it's not a solo author, it's a different number of authors that are behind this big work, and they are coming from different continents, from North America, Europe, and to East Asia. So, we try to answer three fundamental questions in this research. The first one was that, okay, for example, which nature-based solution strategies are most effective in reducing airborne carbon emissions? Because we know that already, if you're looking at I'm now currently in Singapore, and when I'm going out, actually there are lots of nature-based solutions, green walls, green roofs that has been implemented already. And we see that, okay, they are implemented, but the main question that is remaining, which type of these solutions actually they are more effective in capturing carbon and also in reducing carbon emissions? That was the first question that we tried to answer. The second was about the potential contribution. If you want to calculate it, if you want to know how much they can contribute to achieve carbon neutralities in different European cities. So we applied our approach in 54 cities across the whole Europe. And we could see that actually, if they are implemented in the most effective places and suitable places, actually, they can reduce the carbon emissions by 25%. And what was also interesting to know that they have the both direct and indirect impact. The indirect one is about how actually they have an impact on our social behaviors, in our saving the resources. And besides that one, the direct one was about capturing the carbon inside, for example, like wetlands. And the third question that was very interesting, and that one was that where we should put it when we want to do any development, any new development, because we are expanding, yeah, the population is growing, we are expanding, our cities are expanding. So, and I have got these questions so many times by working with cities, with the municipalities in Sweden and also across different countries. And they ask me, like, where should we put these nature-based solutions to be able to maximize their effect? And that was one of the main questions that we tried to answer it as well. So what we are doing now, we are working with the cities to be able to integrate this research into an interactive tool to be able to help them, to guide planners, policymakers in order to reduce the emissions by using NBS along other strategies and to be able to enhance urban resilience. And I'm here because of Frontier Planet Prize and Frontier Research Foundation, so I'm so grateful to them. It has been an honor, a huge honor to get this prize. I believe that this prize can support us as a researcher, although I'm an academic, but I am in my heart a researcher. So as a researcher, I believe that this prize can support us a lot to be able to engage with cities, to engage with the stakeholders, to be able to build resilience through, for example, living labs in this case, through global partnership, and to be able to collaborate, to understand each other's, to be able to talk about in the same language. And so we want to use this prize to broadening the modeling, the huge data that we have produced it. And again, thanks to the Frontier Planet Prize, we have got this opportunity to be able to share our data, the big data that we have it through FAIR2. It's one of the platforms that they are offering us to be able to share our data, because data is valuable, is very, very valuable, and we have to take care of it. We have to share it with other scientists, with the practitioners, to be able to understand what we are talking about. So, and secondly, we want to also create a real-time, because we are talking about data again, the real-time interactive tool to be able to simulate, to test scenarios, and to optimize the NBS planning. And what we believe actually that we need to do the cross-sectional in collaboration, so to strengthening these cross-sectional strategies together, and talking with different interdisciplinary experts. For example, in this case, if we want to meet the net zero city, so we have to integrate with the climate, water, land use, infrastructure, energy sector. So there are different sectors that they have to come together, because it's a very, very complex problem. And we have to come together, we have to sit together around one table to talk to each other. And I believe actually that this process would help us to make this happen. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And I will give the word back to Gabriella. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Zafra. And it's absolutely wonderful to learn more about your research. And many congratulations on being one of the 3 international champions. And here at the ISC, we hope to keep in touch with you, to continue the collaboration, because previously, during other editions of the prize, in every ISC event, we have invited Frontiers Planet Prize national and international champions So we do look forward to keeping in touch. Thank you. Jean-Claude, I think I'm very pleased to welcome you now to share more details about maybe an overview of this edition of the prize and what it is in store for the next edition, as we are joined today by ISE members, but also national nominating bodies for which the ISE is a national representative body. So the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabriela. And please, you can share the PowerPoint. And whilst you're doing that, it's really nice to be able to partner with ISE, and the collaboration we have is very fruitful for us, and I'm very much grateful for that. I'm also very grateful for the time Zara made as a new international champion who got 1 million last week, by the way. One of the first females also to win the prize, to explain her research, why she won it, because the cases she brought and the science that she has highlighted is exactly the kind of science the Planet Prize is looking for and wants to bring to the international level, so that we can speed up the search for solutions to keep our planet healthy. So I will try to, in view of time, I will try to shorten the introduction, which is why there is a prize, and then go into the modus, so that there is a bit of time left for Q&A. Next slide, please. So the Planet Prize, in a nutshell, is a unique prize. It's a unique scientific competition, which ambition is to find the best science around the world that can contribute what we call for a green renaissance, meaning rethinking our societies as they are in order to green them, so that we can have healthy lives on a healthy planet, a healthy Anthropocene, whatever you want to call it. We also are looking for excellence. We want to find the best science, but a bit like the Nobel Prize, but we want it to be a Nobel Prize with a mission. So it is we see it as a Nobel Prize for sustainability. And the prize does that by encouraging the scientific world to do more via granting every year 3 times $1 million for the best article that has been submitted for that year from around the world, and which was being judged by an independent jury. So that's a little bit in a nutshell what the prize is all about. Next slide. So the prize money is a blanco check. You don't have to fill in many forms. You know, I worked at the European Commission, I worked at the university, so I know how much bureaucracy you have to deal with. So in our case, the bureaucracy is absolutely minimal. The only thing we ask you is that the money is used, as Zara perfectly illustrated, to accelerate, to expand your science, to take risks, whatever you want to do with it. So you cannot buy a car, but you can do pretty much everything you want on condition that it is linked to your science. Because it is a very rigid competition, starting bottom up on a nation basis and leading to the top and judged by an independent jury, the outcome of the prize, the fact that the jury chooses your article to be top of the bill of that year means that your science is also considered top of the bill of the world at that moment in time. And by the way, we have studies on that, and I mentioned them last week, that all of those who make it to the last round, so who become a national champion, I will explain it in a second, that their articles are cited 34 times more than a comparable article in the same time span. So it's not only good to save the planet, what you're doing, it's also good for your career. Next slide. You know all that, I'm quite sure you know all that. What is the scope of the prize? Well, it's very simple. The planet has 9 boundaries. We took the work there of Johan Rockström and his colleagues, the seminal work which they work on, which they update every X. So the planet has 9 boundaries which cannot be transgressed, meaning they cannot go out of the green zone. If transgressed, it might lead to irreversibility, instability, and volatility. And what the prize is all about is to find solutions for the red to get back into the green, and for where the green is still intact, to keep it there. So that's what Zara has illustrated is precisely that. nature-based solutions in cities will allow, if implemented the way she did and the way she modeled, to bring the red in 2 or 3 of the boundaries back to the green, to help for that. So the price, that's the scope of the price. It is very simple, but at the same time, it's gigantic, because these 9 boundaries are gigantic in scope. Next slide. So you can also go to the next slide. So our mission is to crowdsource the kind of science that we have around the world, to find the people working, the scientists working via a mechanism that I will explain you later on, which is pretty solid, so that we can find really the best scientists around the world. So the mission is to speed up the search for it, and by doing so, inspire other scientists to do more, so that we accelerate via the bringing in the universities, the academies, the policymakers, so that we accelerate our core ambition, which is to make sure that by 2050 our planet is back on track to be healthy, if not already healthy. So it is really mission-driven, a mission-driven prize. It's not a prize for the beauty of the article per se, it's a prize for the beauty of the solution, or the pathway of solution, or the road indicated by your science to get into a solution. Next slides. So the community, next slide, the community we use for making that happen it's a little bit like the Olympics, you have in every country fantastic scientists working within the country or in teams. They propose via their universities what they want to propose to compete in the prize for that year. We have had 3 editions up till now. The 4th edition was launched 22nd of April, which, as you know, is Earth Day. The universities, it is aggregated at a national basis. The academies send it to the jury. The jury selects per country, the independent jury selects per country the best articles of that cohort of that year for every country. And that is then, out of those national champions, are then selected the 3 once again by the jury that will get 1 million. Now, the importance of the International Science Council, and I cannot stress enough how grateful we are for this fantastic collaboration, is precisely there that we have 24 academies on board, some of the biggest in the world, but we also have 170 countries not on board who have scientists but not an academy, or where the academy is still considering it. So the role of the International Science Council is to act as a kind of a national academy, as an aggregator for those countries who do not have an academy, or where the academy, for a reason that is for them to know, is not yet involved. Next slide. Here you see the growth in participation. So the first year in 2022, when we launched it, we had over 200 universities and research institutions participating. The next year almost doubled, and the year after we had, for the 3rd edition, 610 universities from all over and big research institutions from all over the world participating. Today we have 630 for the 4th edition, and we want to grow to 1,000. So, because, we have more or less between 25 and 30,000 universities in the world. That depends on how you count them. So we would like to have 1,000 of them. Very important of that, I don't know if it is on the next slide, is that if you look at the next slide, please. If you look at where the science is produced, but keep the slide, please. If you look at where the science is produced, we cover more or less 90% of the institutions that so they are already part of the national nominating bodies that are producing relevant science. We have 24 academies acting as a national aggregator, and the International Science Council as an aggregator for every country that has no academy. Next slide. And this is our most important guarantee. It is a very rigid scientific exercise whereby excellence and impact is predominant without the foundation or anyone else intervening. We have a jury of 100 scientists chosen by Johan Rockstrom himself, so in complete independence without us intervening there, and we have zero ambition to intervene ever in it. And they are responsible for the whole selection process, so that someone becoming a national champion at the end of the journey or an international champion can be guaranteed that the top people in this field, and it's very interdisciplinary, north, south, east, west, and so forth, so that he or she can be assured that the nomination is really according to the most rigid scientific principles possible. The jury, and I insist to say that, does not want to be paid for it. I offered them twice, and they do not want to be paid for it because they work more or less two weeks a year for us. They consider it part of their duty to do this. So we are extremely privileged that the jury does this. And the fallout rate is about 7-8%. So every year, 7 or 8 of the jury members need to be replaced. So which I think is an indication that the jury thinks the work they do is important. Next slide. We also have an advisory board, which is covering a little bit several important partners. Of course, we have Peter Gluckman, the president of the International Science Council, on board, because he was the first who was convinced, together with Salvatore, that we should work together. We have Sibyl Setzinger, we have Jacob Lundberg from Future Earth, Lise Korsten, president of the African Academy of Science, Lee Howell, the former managing director of the World Economic Forum, and now the managing director of the Wilders Institute. And then the newest member is Ian Miller, the chief scientist of the National Geographic. And you know, we have many things to offer. So one of the things we are now working on with Ian Miller is to see if those who make it to national champion cannot get a nomination for a National Geographic Explorer status, and vice versa. The hundreds of explorers that National Geographic has, if they cannot rely on our scientists, on our competitors. So we are working with all of them on different partnerships, but that's probably for another time. Next slide, please. So now the important thing. So now if you are convinced that this is something worthwhile to pursue, these are the mechanics, and they are quite important for you to know if you want to compete in it. The foundation, first step, the foundation sends out an invitation to universities to register as a national nominating body. You can click, Gabriella. And that means that on a national basis, what happens most of the time is, of course, that scientists tell their university, I want to participate in it, or academies tell universities, have you heard about this prize? Are you not interested? But it is important for anyone competing that it starts with being affiliated at one university, because the prize has to go somewhere, and we need to be sure that it is scientific rigorous. The nomination is based on a scientific article published in the 2 years before the edition of the prize. So for the next edition, published in 2024, 2023. You see? Because there is a time like there in submission. So the national nominating bodies, they aggregate it, bring it to the academies / the International Science Council. They use the criteria of the jury to make a selection and propose 3 candidates per country to the jury of 100, who is then selecting at the end of the year, so of every calendar year, they are then selecting per country that they receive nominations, the national champion. By the way, they have done several times, they said that none of the nominations were good enough to be national champion. We being nominated is not per se a guarantee that you will get a national champion. And out of them, 3 international champions who will then get their prize at an award ceremony that we organize every year, and which we will from next year onwards organize in the margins of the World Economic Forum, where we are setting up a science house, but that's for later on. Next slide. The criteria, very important, very important. Please click all for Gabriella. So the criteria is previous slide, please. So the criteria are: it has to be excellent, it has to be publicly peer reviewed, it has to be science that has the aspiration of having impact, covering several several boundaries, being scalable, so no micro solution which is context dependent, and of course it has to be multidisciplinary. It's really important that if you participate, that you take that in mind. Next slide. Yeah, well, that's more or less the same, but then written out. And these criteria are also circulated to everyone. By the way, all these PowerPoints you can have later on, so that the jury, but also the academies know exactly what to submit. Next slide. I'm going a bit faster. So this is a snapshot of some of the transformational science, because remember, we want to support the green renaissance, which is a transformation. So we are looking for transformational science, not descriptions, not modeling per se, because for the sake of modeling as such, modeling as a tool to support transformational science, like the example given by Zara, yes. But this is a kind of a snapshot of national champions and international champions that were rewarded. I also like to draw your attention on the fact that if you look at the national champions, if you look at their age, if you look at their rank in the university, if you look at their universities, this is not a typical high-ranked full-time senior professor sitting at the Ivy League university. The system, the competition is designed that anyone from anywhere, independent of the rank of his university, independent of the rank of the university itself, can compete. What the essence is a good article, and with an interesting transformational breakthrough idea that can save our planet. All the rest is not essential for us. So we don't do it the other way around. It is first the article that is being considered, and it's also last the article that is being considered. Next slide. Yeah, just go on. So these were the slides. So these are the champions of this year, the 19 that we celebrated this year, and where you can see the new millionaire from Sweden, so from the KTH Royal Institute of Technology. I invite you to look at, so we had several new countries now, Mexico, Indonesia, Sweden was the first time Sweden made it to national champion. We bring them together in a yearly event. It's really nice to be there as director and to see all this energy and ideas from all over the world being floated around. Next slide. These were our 3 international champions. The first, and by the way, these are the 2 first ladies in the 3 editions. So the first lady worked on the impact of trade policies on sustainability. Nature-based solutions was what Professor Zara Kalantari proposed. Next slide. And this is just to give you a snapshot. You know, I was telling you about we want to become a Nobel Prize in terms of prestige and renommee, but with a mission. We are slowly getting there in terms of, well, in terms of renommee, in terms of people knowing about. You see the amount of people involved there. These are all the winners of this year. We have 600 universities, 620 universities participating. All in all, up till now, close to 10,000 scientists were involved in the competition, because all of the articles in this field are co-authors. So the American international champion of last year, there were more than 80 authors. So that explains why you get these huge numbers. But you can see there that we are hitting significant numbers there. 62 national champions, 10 international champions. We have awarded close to $10 million the last 3 years in prize money. 620 universities, 25 academies, 6 strategic partners, a lot of pickup in the media. Increasingly, policy documents from around the world are quoting our national and international champions, and so on and so on. So slowly the machine is getting momentum in terms of accelerating and in terms of making the world aware that this prize exists and that it is worthwhile looking at it. Next slide. So now the most essential if you want to participate. So 22nd of April every year we launch the prize. The 1st of November, all the nominations at the university need to be submitted. It takes you about 40 minutes to fill in the paper, and that's all you have to do. So the lead author has to first of all, to discuss with his colleagues, do you agree we submit it? And if we win, do you agree that I'm the lead author and that my university receives the money? Okay, you submit it, you attach a PDF of your article, and that's about it. So bureaucratically speaking, it takes you 40 minutes. The academies have 1 month to come up with their selection until the 1st of December. That is then sent to the jury, who in 2 rounds, by the end of February, decide first on the national champions, then on the international champions. The 22nd of April of the following year, so everything is always on Earth Day, we announce all national champions. And at the award ceremony, who this year was in June, but that may vary, only then we make public the international champions. But of course, we know them already sooner, but we don't make it public because the jury decided on it in February. Next slide. Yeah, you can go on. So what are the next steps? If you represent an institution, well, then the most important thing, and you are interested in the prize, the most important thing is to register. You can see there where to do it. You don't have to pay for it. By the way, you never ever have to pay for anything for what we do. And all the material that we use is freely available for everyone. There is no copyright. There is nothing is protective there. We are an open science foundation, an open science company that finances this. So we would not, of course, ask you to pay, let alone make paywalls there. So all this material can be used. You can register, and even if you're not sure that you want to participate, you can register as a university and say, well, this year nothing, maybe next year. Next slide. If you are a scientist, you have to check the website where you find all the details, the paperwork to submit. As I said, it takes you 40 minutes. The most important thing to do is that your article must be a peer-reviewed article. It has to be made open access somewhere, and if you cannot do it, we will do it so that everyone can use your science. And of course, you have to decide together with your university all the practicalities about lead authorship, co-authors, first author, and so on. We refuse to go into the game of, yes, but that co-author was responsible so much, so can you not do this and that? It is simply impossible for us to get into that game because every country has its own culture in this respect and its own habitus. So it's up to you as a scientist and university wanting to nominate an article to make sure that everything is sorted out on beforehand. Next slide. By the way, in practice, that doesn't, what I just said, every scientist, because most of the teams are very collaborative, there is never a problem there. So that's not really an issue. So we have a resource hub that can help you with everything, where you can find past winners, where you can find all kinds of PowerPoints that you can use to send it to your scientist if you are an NNB, or to your universities if you are a national registration body, which are the academies. There is a lot of text that you can use in emails. There are visual assets. It's all there for free. Please use it if you want. Next slide. And of course, it is really, really important because the mechanics of the prize are more or less solid. It works, but of course, it can only work because universities and academies like you who are interested today do participate. And it matters because we don't have time to lose here. We really have to speed up the search for solutions for the many, many planetary problems that we have. Next slide, and that I think is the last one. And if there is any doubt left, myself, or Gilbert, we are always there to help you. And up till now, we can always find a solution for almost all problems. And Gabriela and Salvatore and our colleagues from the ISC, they know it as well as we do in the meantime. So they're always very helpful there as well. So by this, I conclude my presentation, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jean-Claude, for this comprehensive overview of the prize. I think you highlighted there are many exciting opportunities for the scientific community, either ISC members who are joining us today or the universities, national nominating bodies, for which the ISC acts, like you said, Jean-Claude, like a national academy, receiving the submissions and evaluating them and putting them forward to the grand jury. And maybe just to add, in terms of the ISC timeline of us receiving the submissions, please expect that sometime in September, we will launch the online application form. It's pretty straightforward. As Jean-Claude mentioned, it will take about 13 minutes to submit the application and the research article. Then the ISC will work with a team of reviewers, and until the 1st of December, we will submit the 3 best articles per country to the Planet Prize. So expect some announcement from the ISC in September about the launch of the applications. And I think we've reached the point for our interactive part with the participants for the Q&A. And we have Jean-Claude and we have Salvatore for this part. I see Silvina has raised her hand, so please go ahead, Silvina, and I'll also have a look in the chat for the questions that we already have.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. My question, I am the president of the International Union of Pure and Applied Physics. So we are an international union, not a national body. And I was wondering if there is any way in which we can participate in part of the nomination, which was something that I asked for in the GA. I see that we have the national nomination bodies and then the NRBs that make a selection per country. But there is no room for the international unions. And since most of these research articles are truly international, I was wondering if we could participate and also how you manage that the fact that the articles are written by people from all over the world. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I think thank you, Silvana, if I may, for raising this, because it's a question we get many times and for which there is no perfect answer. Let me start by that. The in-between solution, and you know, I'm a Belgian, so we are very good in compromising. So, so the in-between solution is the following. So what your international association is vital for us is if you spread the word about the competition and that your members know about it, because you have direct access to a lot of people that are working on this. But what we always tell associations like yours is you should tell them that if they get to know about the prize via you, that they should submit it via their university, because all your members are part of one or the other university. And then, of course, that's the compromise we can offer, because we cannot work. Imagine we would because we played with this idea. Well, why don't we ask the international associations to nominate? But then imagine you nominate someone and that person gets 1 million. Then who is going to administer the money? So it is a little bit. It creates more problems than it solves. But it is absolutely very much welcome if you use your network to propagate the prize. So we have a deal also with the Earth, the Future Earth, who is a network of 22,000 scientists, who is also making publicity for the prize, sending some slides around if they want. If you want, I can always address your membership. If you have plenary meetings, we can do all that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Silvina. I see we have 2 more hands raised, but let me quickly also go through the chat. So we have a question, Jean-Claude, on the criteria for participation. So I think we will share the recording and the presentation. We have, unless you want to quickly share more details on the criteria, and also about the prize money, if it's shared among the 3 champions or it's 1 million each. I think, yeah, we can confirm it's 1 million each.
It's 1 million each, so that's the easy one. The other one about the criteria is it is what I said, and I cannot repeat it enough. It has to be excellent science that is transformative with regard to the planetary challenges, meaning it is not, we are not a venture capitalist looking for science that can be put straight away in a startup. No, we are looking for scientific insights that help us to transform the red into green, or to keep the green. As simple as that. So in practicality, it means that to give you an example, which is quite illustrative, if the Club of Rome report would have been published today, it would never get the prize, because it's a description of a problem, and it doesn't show a pathway, a scientific pathway out of it. So it is very important to keep that in mind. That's the main issue we encounter every year. That for my own university, we have fantastic modelers about the likelihood of how will the generations born this year, next year, the next 5 years be confronted with planetary hazards if in a business as usual scenario. That's fantastic science, but it is not the scope of the prize. This prize want to change the world, you know.
We have 2 comments regarding the inclusivity of more scientists from the Global South in the international jury, and the need for a mechanism to promote researchers in the Global South, which should not be put in the same pool as the ones with the Global North. This is a comment from Philbert Lufunga. Do you want to react to this, Jean-Claude?
Yes, we don't take any distinction in terms of rewarding excellence, which is geographic based. We do accept, when we do start from the assumption that science is a global initiative. Of course, there are a lot of injusticeness and unfairness in the scientific system, we know that. But in the end, what the scientific community thinks is the best science is a global exercise where most of us always agree because of the peer review mechanism. This being said, we do a lot of, we do a lot of effort to engage the Global South, which is mainly crystallizing in a very substantial effort we do to bring on board Africa, because that's the worst. Let's be honest. So we have a special agreement, and we support the African Academy of Science, which is the continental organization in Africa, as you all know. We try to support them as much as we can. We come up with regional effort and so on, so that that those scientists are also aware of it, and they have support from a network of planetary prize people in Africa to help them there. But there is no categorization based on geography or whatsoever. The only categorization is your science useful for getting the planet on track of a healthy future. This being said, from next year onwards, we will also, per continent, Latin America, North America, Asia, Africa, Europe, we will start working with regional Frontiers Planet Prize meetings, where we bring together not only the national champions, but those who made it into the last round, so that we can bring more people to the end of the marathon, so to speak. We are also working very hard in finding ways to support those who do not get 1 million, but we are, for example, playing with a mechanism, with an idea to offer them a sabbatical leave paid by the Planet Prize, etc., etc. So we do a lot, but we cannot solve the fundamental injustice that exists in the world of science, which is a reflection of the injustice that exists in the world as such. But we try what we can, and that's also why International Science Council is so important. We try what we can to remedy there.
2 last questions from the chat before I move to our participants who raised their hand. Is there any limit to the number of applicants per university, and how can people join the jury?
There is no limit, but it doesn't make sense to submit 50 articles. You have always to keep in mind, it's a bit like the Olympics, you know. You do not send someone to the Olympic marathon final if he cannot run a marathon he or she below 215. So you need to be sure that whoever who is submitted makes a fair chance to become a national champion and makes a fair chance to become an international champion. Otherwise, what's the point of asking people to do the effort? So that doesn't mean that you need to that only articles published in the top journals make a chance. On the contrary, you will, if you look at the national champions of this year, some are in the top journals, but some are not in the top journals. The real importance is the excellence coupled with the transformative potential. The jury, on the other hand, is something we do not intervene. This is fully managed in full autonomy by Johan Rockström. If you are interested in joining the jury, please send an email to him. I'm sure he will take it up.
Thank you very much, Jean-Claude. So we have 3 raised hands. I take them in the order of my screen. So we have Narinder Mehra. Wonderful to see you, Narinder.
Yes,
The ceremony in Belarus.
I was so happy to join you guys over there last week. It was so interesting. I wanted to know, because India is a big country, so we have a separate academy for medical sciences. Can one country have 2 NRBs? Because we have the Indian National Science Academy, INSA, which is the adhering International Science Academy. They do have the medical sciences as well, but we have a separate National Academy of Medical Sciences. And they were asking me if they could separately become NRB. So that's my question number 1. I have one more.
Okay, I'm afraid the answer is negative, because then if we allow this, Germany has 20 academies.
Yeah.
Belgium has 4 academies, and it's a Mickey Mouse country. So the only thing we can advise you is that in one way the academy should try to come up with an integrated proposal, and one academy can propose on behalf of the others. That's not the problem. On the contrary, yeah, and in particular, there is a point to be made that you are almost 1/6 of the world population, so that you can propose more nominations, of course. But we need to, somewhere the system needs to be selective, bottom up. Otherwise, we open the door for very complicated constructions. And I'm sorry for that, dear colleague. And by the way, I appreciate that you were in the last week with us in Europe. It was really good to see you.
So the point is that one country, one NRB, and one NRB, we just send 3 national champions' names to the jury of 100, right?
Yes, and that can be done in collaboration with all the other academies, no problem.
Yes. So my second point is, how about the NNBs? NNBs can be several? Because,
NNBs, the more the better.
The more the better, yeah. So there are hundreds of universities and academic institutions in India, and we will try and sensitize them and let them know about the importance of this particular activity. And I'm sure several of them will come forward to join this. So the NNBs will send their nominations to NRB, and they will then finally select the 3 national champions and send it to the jury of 100.
To a jury of 100. And then for NRBs, if they are registered and we have a regional event in India, of course, they are all invited to come to the regional event.
Yes.
So that's the advantage.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear colleague.
And thank you, Gabriela.
Thank you very much, Narinder. Martin, Martin Makustra, hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. I represent the International Union of Vacuum Science Technique and Applications. One of the problems I see with your call is that it focuses on university scientists. There are lots of scientists who work in industry, in research institutes, in NGOs, who are not attached to any university. So those people are locked out of your prize. Is there a mechanism perhaps it could be built through the international unions with the help of the ISC that would actually give those scientists the opportunity to participate?
Yes, well, it's as I said, this is a recurrent question. I mean, in principle, there is absolutely no problem for anyone from an NGO, a private research lab, or a research consortium like the Max Planck Institute in Germany to nominate on condition that the nomination, the person, the lead scientist submitting the article has an academic affiliation. Then it goes via the university he belongs to. If that is not the case, then I'm afraid we have up till now not yet found an appropriate way out there. Because as I said a few minutes ago, it will require. It is actually rethinking the whole philosophy of the mechanics. You know, bottom up, national, local selection, national selection, international selection, and I don't see how we can do this without creating more problems than solutions. But you know, I do think that most of the science published by people in NGOs or in private companies or big research organizations, most of these scientists are always linked to some university somewhere, even if it is 10%, you know, as long as the university agrees to submit it, it's fine.
As I say, yeah, in a sense, the international unions like ourselves, IUPAC, IUPAC have top-down structure or a bottom-up structure from national societies through to the international union. And then, of course, the international unions are affiliated to ISC. We have the same structure already. And that could provide you an alternative pathway for those scientists who do not want to register with a university because they simply don't trust the universities.
Yeah. Yeah, well, then but if
or simply can't because they work for a company and there are then issues of IP.
Yes, of course, but if there are issues of IP, do they publish their work?
They often do. I work a lot with companies, and because I'm a chemical physicist, companies publish.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I don't have up till now. I haven't found an appropriate answer to this specific problem. Because as I said, you know, if we're not gonna give a company 1 million for the prize because we think that the money should go to the public research system, not because ideologically, but that's where most money is needed. So it's not a prize for companies; it's a prize for science, and it's a prize to to nurture science. So if we pay company X 1 million, who guarantees us that it goes to science? You know. So you see, it opens the door to problems that are not so easy to solve.
Thank you for your response.
Thank you. But I work on it. But if you have a solution, please mail me, and I'm more than keen to work with you on a solution. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Martin. We have 2 hands up. Raymond, would you like to share your question?
Greetings to all. I would like to know quickly whether the price is only directed to an organization or can individual apply for it?
Well, you can only apply for it if you have an article published in a peer-reviewed journal, and if you have a university that is willing to submit you. And the reason, so we have this selection. We have this mechanism because it selects non-bona fide potential applicants. So as an individual not being linked to university, you cannot submit it, because then we open the floods for completely uncontrolled wave of submissions. You know, the first year we got from a certain country more than 50 submissions from individuals. So from a country, you have no clue what is going on there. You have no clue if the articles are bona fide. So we need to be sure that what is submitted is part and parcel of our scientific ecosystem.
So the university will have to endorse your application. That what you're saying?
Yes, they have to endorse is a big word. They have to endorse that you participate in the competition. But the university also get a lot in return. So if you see, for example, the University of Zarhau, the speaker of this year, the Swedish Institute of Technology, if you look at LinkedIn, the traffic that has been generated because of winning the prize is substantial. So it also glows on the university and the academy. So it up till now we have, to be honest, up till now, and we had more than, I think we have close to maybe 1,000 people submitting. No, 1,000, 600 submitting in the first 3 years altogether. We never encountered the problem of someone saying that no one wants to support me. Because if that happens, I was also 20 years in university. I know universities are fantastic, but not perfect. If it happens that my university doesn't want to support me, I ask my co-author to submit it via his university or her. Problem solved.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much, Raymond. Joshua, minute. Joshua, can you hear us? Maybe there is a connection problem. We have another question in the chat from Philbert Lufunga. Do the submitted articles need to be published in the same year of competition?
Well, if let's be concrete. If you would like to enroll for this year, your article should have been published in 2024, 2023. If you submit in the competition that we launch next year, it has to be submitted in 2025 or 2024.
So in the last 2 years.
Why do we do it? Because the submissions have to be concluded by October, which means that every article that is published in November and December cannot compete in the year that we issue the competition. So that's why we take a bandwidth of 2 years, so that if it happens so that you publish this year in November, December, then next year you can participate, so you're not excluded.
Thank you, Jean-Claude. Joshua, maybe you can hear us now to address your question. If not, Jean-Claude, I'm looking through the chat. I think we've covered all of the questions. Would there be any questions from our audience online? I don't see any other raised hands. So maybe, Jean-Claude, before we conclude the session, would there be any last remarks you would like to make about the prize and the application process?
Yeah, I can only encourage you to spread the word. I can only say you that there is zero risk. We don't sign contracts. We don't ask for money. There is no Ponzi scheme behind all this. So it is completely open, free. The risk involved in submitting or in inquiring is zero. But the most important thing is, and that is something I really want to hammer on, this is a prize to make sure that science plays the role it has to play, which is solving problems in the world, not describing them. And the solutions is what we are interested in one way or another, sophisticated or not. That is not the issue. The issue is really transformational science. And last thing, there are close to 240, I think, prizes in sustainability in the world today. We are the only one for scientists. And I thank you already now for your interest.
Thank you so much, Jean-Claude Berkelman, Frontiers Planet Prize Director. We at the IC, we look forward to working with the Frontiers team for this year's edition. I thank you all for joining the session today. We will share the recording and the slides. Please do reach out to us with any questions or ideas for the Frontiers Planet Prize. And until next time, it was a pleasure to connect with you today. All the best.
Thank you, Gabriela, for organizing this, and to the colleagues of International Science Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jean-Claude, and everyone.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.